Hey guys, Jordan here. Today we're checking out a new motherboard from MSI. This is the MSI MAG B850 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. Now you may be thinking, didn't you cover the Tomahawk on the channel a while ago? Well, I covered the Tomahawk MAX Wi-Fi then, and this is a little bit different, a little bit cheaper, and there are a few changes that I will of course tell you about as we go throughout the video as well. So let's get straight into it, not waste any time, and get unboxing. So in our little box here, we're going to have our antennas. There we go. That's also magnetic as well. This will support Wi-Fi 7. It's also got Bluetooth 5.4 as well. Then we've got our board. Let's see what else we've got included. Not too much, just a SATA cable with a right angle connector, documentation, an M.2 standoff in there, and also the quick release to remove that. So if you want to change the positioning, you'll need that little tool, but they do include it. We've also got this little adapter cable. So this is a little proprietary connector that goes on the board. Then that breaks out into, we've got a front panel connector there, 4-pin fan header, and then lastly, a 3-pin 5-volt addressable. So if you want to keep your board nice and tidy and you don't want to have lots of connectors visible going into it, especially if you're doing more of a showcase system, you can use this breakout cable. So you've just got the one coming off of it and it splits out into those, which I really do like that cable. And we've also got an additional little extender for the front panel connection in the box as well. So here we have the B850 Tomahawk. First impressions, it looks very similar to the other models. It is slightly different though. If you look at the Max, for example, I'll put a picture on the screen. You have got a little bit extra armor down here on the Max. Now let's of course have a look at the VRM. 14+2+1 digital phase VRM. Still very beefy, much like the Max. You've got some nice heat dissipation around those VRMs. On the back, nothing to really talk about, just a plain PCB, much like the Max as well. Let's have a zoom in and a look around the board. So top left, we've got our two 8-pin EPS connectors. These are solid pins. They're not shielded connectors though, just normal ones. We then have three 4-pin headers on the right hand side. We've got CPU fan 1, a pump system 1, and then a system fan 1. On the right hand side, we've got a 3-pin 5-volt addressable, then another 4-pin fan. We then have the debug LEDs, very handy to see what's going on as your system posts. 24-pin. Here we have the easy connector for that breakaway cable. So I mentioned the 1-into-3 that breaks out into the front panel 3-pin addressable, and then the 4-pin for fan. We then have the USB Type-C, that's USB 3.2 Gen 1, so 10 gigabits per second. We then have a little quick release for the graphics card. This is one that I really like. You have to lock it and then unlock it. A little bit more secure than just a temporary push. On the right angle, we have 4 6 gigabit ports for SATA. 2 more 4 pins, so that's a total of 8 4-pin connectors on this board, or 9 if you use the additional breakout cable, so quite a lot for this one. Then we've got another 5-volt addressable, standard 12-volt RGB, and then our front panel audio. In terms of sound card, this is using a Realtek ALC 4080. If you are into your sound though, I highly recommend you grab a sound card. You can easily move it between systems then, plus you'll get much higher quality audio anyway. So going back up to our socket, so of course AM5, so support for the 7000, 8000 and 9000 series processors. And then on the right, we have our DIMM slots. This will support up to 256 gigabytes, then up to 8200 mega transfers per second. One of the changes over the Max board, that can support 84, but this will be 82. That could change though with the BIOS update, where we're seeing memory frequencies improved with those, so that could be something that changes in the future anyway. So going down to our storage, our first M.2 is a nice little quick release. There we have support for up to an 80mm Gen 5 NVMe. That's going to be the only Gen 5 slot on this board. Then at the bottom we have got an additional little heatsink just to take off, so let's get that removed. And under that heatsink we have an additional 2 more slots for NVMe's up to 80mm in length. You could do 110 if you wanted to, because you could just remove that peg and then use a longer one. But these will be Gen 4. One will be off the CPU and then one off the chipset. So a total of 3 NVMe slots on this board. That's one down from the Max that supports 4. All of those heatsinks have also got thermal pads on the back. Make sure you remove the peel when you install your drive. Then in terms of our PCI slots, we have the armoured top Gen 5. That has the little nice locking mechanism that I mentioned. That's an armoured slot. And then we have an additional Gen 4 below that. That's wired to X4. Then we have an X1 slot at the bottom. This is again different from the Max because that has a X16, so a full length slot, but it's more than enough if you want to use a sound card or a capture card, as many of those use an X1 interface anyway. Then going on to the rear I/O of the board, we have our clear CMOS and BIOS flash buttons at the top, very handy to have. We've Got an HDMI out, which is great for a bit of troubleshooting or if using 8000 series processor. The USB-C ports, the top one is going to be 10 gigabits per second and the bottom is 20. Now here we're going to see one of the differences from the Max board. So for example, here on this board, we've got two blue USB ports, both for 5 gigabits per second. On the Max, that's replaced by Type C. So obviously it depends if you're going to be using more Type A or Type C, if you might want that. But for me personally, I do like having two USB-Cs and then lots of Type A. 4 USB 2 ports, a 5 gig LAN, a Wi-Fi antenna points, like I mentioned, Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4. Then we've got a line out, microphone in and an SP diff. So that was a look around the Tomahawk Wi-Fi. This is going to retail for £209 at the time of filming, which I don't think is too bad. Like I mentioned, differences between the Max, you have one less NVMe, one less X16 PCIe. Personally, like I said, that does still fit sound card and capture card, so won't make too much difference for most people. And then you also got a additional USB-C on the Max rather than the extra USB Type A on the non-Max. So again, down to what you kind of really use peripheral wise, if you're going to want the extra Type C or not. Personally, for me, I do like a lot of Type A and a couple of Type C, so this would be probably the one I would choose, especially if I'm not planning to stream or use loads of NVMe storage and things like that. So overall, I think a pretty feature-rich board for the price. So thank you all for watching. Any other things you'd like to know that I haven't covered, please leave a comment down below. I'm sure we'll get using this in a build at some point, maybe when the DDR prices go down. A little bit crazy to do a build at the moment, but we'll let that settle and then hopefully find somewhere we can use this in. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please get subscribed and ding the bell if you did. Big thank you to MSI for sending this out for me to look at, and I'll see you all in the next one.